Hello, Moody. Hello, Cindy. I'm going to wait just a few minutes here and let a couple other people sign on. I want to thank everybody. I want to say happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. I want to give a shout out to everybody that's watching. Illustrious Sir Buddy Grayson, Melanie Phillips, Mama Albritton, Sean Cochran. All right. So I'll give you a little bit of background before we really get deep into the story here. The story that I'm going to tell tonight is a true story. Happened to a friend of mine. I've known him 25 years, so don't know any reason for him to tell a story or anything like that. But I did witness a few things. I can collaborate with this story because I was there and I witnessed some of the stuff that happened. So tonight's story is about a Dybbuk box, or a Dybbuk box, spelled Dybbuk. For those of y'all not familiar with a Dybbuk box, you can Google it. Again, I'm not a supernatural expert on a lot of this, but I do know certain things. I do know that the Dybbuk box is basically a Jewish box that houses either entities or demonic spirits or an evil spirit of some sort. Supposedly, the only way to get rid of it is a rabbi has to come in and take care. And not all rabbis, just like when you want to do an exorcism, you got to have the right priest to do this. You can't just have a priest do it. So there's a special rabbi. I do know that the rabbis do not like doing this. Years ago, when I was interested and learned about a Dybbuk box, I asked, a lot of y'all may remember Howard Cooper. I worked with him back at Freeman Jewelers at a corporate office back in like 95 through like 2006, 2007. And then we were in the shrine together and everything. So he told me a little bit about what a Dybbuk box actually does. A lot of the Jewish community don't like to speak of one because supposedly if you speak of one, then you're drawing attention to the spirit and the spirit can latch on to you. Just by looking at a Dybbuk box or being in the presence of a Dybbuk box can be very terrifying, and something could latch on to you. Hope I'm not too shaky. My cool selfie stick didn't come in. So get yourself some popcorn here. We're going to start in a minute. I got this big old thing of popcorn here. I got from GTC. They were selling it this weekend. You could ride by. They get you some popcorn. So I'm going to put that right there because I'm going to have some as soon as we are done. So let's get started. So my story, I had seen this show about a Dybbuk box, and it intrigued me. And it was about a man who apparently bought one at a yard sale for his mother, and all kind of crazy things happening. So that story, you can look that up whenever you want. That's not my story. My story actually deals with Crown Villa Apartments, again in Georgetown. The guy that was there that I spoke of, I'll give you his first name, and I know he's watching. I did turn off my comments, so I can't see all the comments so that I can focus more on the stories this time. I get distracted, and I'm sorry. I want to say hello to everybody. I promise I'll give you shout outs once this is done. But so his name is Richard. He's got 3 children. He's got a girl. I'm not going to mention the children's name to protect them, but Rich did say I could mention him, and he's on here. So it shouldn't be too hard to figure out who I'm talking about. If you want to verify, Rich, if you don't mind, if you'll do a couple comments or some thumbs up, let me know you're watching and that I'm telling the story exactly the way you told me and exactly the way we both experienced it. All right, so I got to talking to Rich about it because he's into some paranormal stuff too. Not as deep as I am, but he said he had watched it, and yeah, it freaked him out. A couple days later, he was looking on eBay and said he found one. I said, well, be careful, man, because those things, you know, you don't know what's BS and what ain't. You could be wasting your money, you know. But not only that, it could be BS. You know what I mean? So he said, well, I'm going to buy it. So he bid on it, and he won it. He got it. He told me when I saw him that he had won it, and they're shipping it to him. So I told him whenever it came in, let me know. Well, it came in, and he let me know. I told him I used to paint apartments over there, and I said when I come to paint an apartment, I'll come check it out, which should be about a week. So when I met up with him a week later, he said that all kind of strange things was happening. He had said that when he first got the Dybbuk Box, he didn't open it. He kept it in the downstairs closet. He lived in a 2-bedroom townhome, and he kept it in the downstairs closet where you walk up the stairs up on the shelf, because he didn't want the kids to mess with it and stuff, just in case anything was happening. So he kept it up there all boxed up. He said about a day later or two, the kids would tell him weird stuff like, hey, something kept me up all night. Something was playing with my toys, you know, stuff like that. So then as little by little, he said that the kids would say that they would start seeing things happen, other things happening in their rooms and stuff, and they'd come running downstairs scared to death. It was crazy stuff happening. He said when he decided to finally open the Dybbuk Box, which was early December, he had gotten this sometime in November. So he had probably had it a couple weeks. So he decided, hey, I'm going to open this thing and check it out. So he took it outside and to open it up. That night, early December, this is probably 4 or 5 years ago, there was a real bad apartment fires at Crown Villa. One of them just happened to be my mom's at Crown. No BS. Rich, if you're online, give a thumbs up or something. Let them know I'm not BSing this story. The apartment's caught fire. Put about 5 or 6 families out for a good while until they could rebuild those apartments and everything. It's pretty sad. It was, a couple weeks before Christmas and everything, so it's pretty sad. So that happened. Then he said his oldest child, which was his daughter, started cutting herself. And then he couldn't figure out why, and he kept trying to get her help, and took her to the hospital and stuff like that and everything, and they couldn't find out why. And so he had asked her, why are you doing this? And he said she said that she didn't know why, that something was telling her to kill herself. So this is pretty serious stuff. He was very worried, like any father would be. So he was trying to figure out and try to put everything together. He said they would see dark shadows all around the apartment. He said things would fly around and scare them all half to death. Said the twin boys would run downstairs and their hairs were sticking up on their arms, screaming, saying they didn't want to sleep in their room, stuff like that. He did say that one time that they had an antique doll that used to sit up on the TV, and he said that the antique doll would turn its head sometimes and everything. It would be facing one way, and then they'd be watching TV and just kind of notice, and the doll would, slowly move its head to the other side. Said it used to creep them out really bad. That would freak me out, because dolls are spooky to me anyways. I don't care what kind of doll you have. Dolls are spooky. So he said that happened, and then he said that anytime that they were around the box or wherever the box was, it would be 15 to 20 degrees colder wherever they would be. He said that there's still some crazy stuff that goes on there. So where I come into play to this, he had told me about it. I said, well, what do you want to do with it? And he said, I want to get rid of it. I said, well, how about if we try to resell it on eBay? So he said, I don't care. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do whatever. So I said, okay. So me, like an idiot, I put it in my Ford Explorer. And this, of course, was a couple months later or whatever. So I was with a friend, and he can verify this if he's watching. I went to his store. He had a little store, and he said, come around back, and I've got some stuff I want to donate, to the haunt or whatever for you guys. And I was like, great. So I pulled around, had my truck in park. The Dybbuk Box was in my back seat, and I got out and was getting the stuff from him, and he said, we sat there and talked for probably a minute or two, and then all of a sudden he said, hey, take a look at your truck. And my truck somehow jumped in reverse and was backing up. And me, God, back then I was I was a big guy back then still. I was like 400 pounds. So you can only imagine I looked like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man running after my truck, trying to make sure it didn't run into somebody's vehicle or whatever. And I got into it just as fast. Andy was like, hey, man, I didn't know you could move so fast. Well, I was pretty scared. And, when you're scared, you can move, Jack. And I was booking. So anyways, let's see, they gave it to me. I decided that I was going to try to sell it on eBay. So I was headed to the haunt because I had just got some stuff donated for the haunt. That's when my truck backed up and jumped up out of park into reverse somehow and was backing up and just took off. So I get to the haunt. I'm the only one there. I'm unloading the stuff he gave me. I take the haunt box, I stick it, there's this middle corridor you walk down when you first go into the haunt, and you go to the middle, we call it the middle section, and I put it back in there, and I thought when we start working on the haunt again, I'll take some pictures and stuff maybe, or whatnot. Well, then I got to thinking, and I'm like, no, you know what, I'll go ahead and take some pictures now and put it on eBay. So I took some pictures and everything, and I put it up. I put it on eBay. I got a lot of stuff about it being fake and, this is a scam. And so I just took it down and I said, hey, maybe we'll incorporate it into the haunt or something or, whatever. Several months later, we're all at the haunt. There's we always have a lot of volunteers that come and help, and a lot of them are high school kids and things like that. And I hadn't been in the haunt because once we're finished, we're so burnt out and tired, we don't want to go back for a while. But again, I had gotten some stuff donated, and I had to go there, so I put everything in there, including the Dybbuk Box. Fast forward till about April, May, somewhere around then. I got a phone call from a guy at Gulfstream, and he was a bigwig. And he said, hey, Patrick, a friend of mine said that you guys do a lot of volunteer work. I want to know if I can help volunteer. And I was like, yeah, I guess, because it was so weird out of the blue. And he said, well, I want to be honest with you. The reason why is I got a DUI, and I need some community service hours. 9 times out of 10, I do everything through the front office. But I figured, hey, this guy's a big wig at Gulfstream, and he had a DUI. He came, he gave me his name and everything. I talked to his probation officer, and she said, yeah, that, it was just a DUI. So there was nothing really to worry about. The guy was a great guy. He just had to do 20 hours. So he comes in that Saturday. There's a bunch of us there. There's probably 15 or 20 of us there, and we're working. We're excited about the haunt. And what we always do when we first get started is there's a huge cleanup. We clean up everything, and then we start kind of tearing down some of the rooms, and then we start kind of organizing all the stuff that's just been thrown in because, again, when we're tired at the last night, we throw everything in, and we say, hey, we'll worry about it whenever we... And it's a big deal to us, and we always have like a little cookout or something whenever we do that, whenever we go to start. So the guy shows up. I introduce him to everybody, and... he's like, what do you need me to do? He's like, I'm a great organizer. And I said, great. We've got all kind of stuff here. Nobody likes to do. That seems like the job that sucks. So he goes, I'm your man. So I took him back there and I said, all these boxes over here, you know, I want you to put them here and organize this and that. So he's like, yeah, no problem. So I'm outside getting the guys started, and I'm around the other side, and I got everybody working. Everybody's working fine. I tell everybody, hey, y'all, it's almost lunchtime. I'm going to go get us some pizzas. Don't ask me why, but, you know, pizza seems to be a haunt worker favorite meal because it's fast, you know, plus it's $5. So I went and I said, I'm going to go get pizza. I'll be back in about 30, 45 minutes. When I get back, we'll have lunch. I came back, I brought the pizzas, and I was yelling for everybody to have lunch. And the guy said, hey, you got a second? I said, yeah, I got a second. He said, I found something weird when I was going through all the boxes. And I said, okay, well, what'd you find? And he had it sitting out. And I said, where did you find this? Because I thought I had it pretty well hidden and way away from where he was supposed to be. And he said, oh, I just was kind of moving all these boxes, and I was happened to see that over in the corner of my eye, and I decided, hey, let me pick this box up too. So he picked it up out of the box, took it out of the box after I had taped it up and everything again. Like that's going to help, I was hoping. And I said, man, you didn't open this box, did you? And he's like, yeah, I did. And I said, where's the box that it came in, the packing box? And he goes, oh, I ripped it up and threw it away. It's in the trash somewhere. And I was like, oh, man, you know, oh, you shouldn't have did that. I said, did you actually open this box? And he says, yeah, there's some weird stuff in there, man, like candle drippings all over the place and some weird writings inside, and there was like some hair and this, and I was like, oh, no, man, you shouldn't open this box. And he goes, well, what's going on? Well, tell me about it. So I told him about it. I told him the story, and he laughed at me, and he said, yeah, I don't believe in that crap, man. I just don't. That's not my cup of tea, you know. It's not my thing. And again, this was a pretty high up there, smart, intelligent Gulfstream employee, and the guy was really articulate with his words and everything, if that makes sense. So he was just like, okay, whatever. I said, well, we've got pizza out here if you want to come get you some pizza. And he goes, yeah, that sounds cool. So we go outside, and he gets him a piece of pizza, and his phone starts blowing up, and it's his wife. And his wife is saying, hey, the alarm's going off. I got something on my phone saying the alarm's going off. And he said, I didn't get an alarm. And then his phone started going off. So he says, hold on, guys. And so it was one of the alarm company people on the phone and was saying, hey, there's been a break-in at your house. We've got the glass alert. The police are on the way. And his wife was scared to death. And he said, I got to go. He just took off. He said, I got to go, Pat. I'm sorry. So he took off. I had his number. I started texting him about an hour later. I was like, hey, are you okay? Is everything okay? He sent me back a quick response and said, no, everything's not okay. My house was broken into. I'll call you soon. I was like, okay. So we're wrapping up and everything. It's about 4 or 5 o'clock, and he comes pulling up. And he said, hey, you're not going to believe this, but somebody broke into my house, and the police don't know anything. It looks like somebody broke from the inside out, and there was nothing missing. He said, but on my bookshelf, I've got all these like religious type books and everything. He said, and they were just pulled out, like somebody just took them and just threw them all out, and they were everywhere. He said it was the craziest thing. He said, so I would have been back sooner, but I told the police. I was cleaning up glass, and then I had to board everything up. It's like, no problem, man. You ain't got to worry about it. Don't worry about the rest of the day or whatever. He said, no, I kind of want to. I want to finish up. And I said, no, man, you know, your wife probably needs you more than me. And he said, well, she's at her mother's, and I'm going to go there once I leave from here. So he came in and helped us get up all the trash. He was there maybe 20 minutes. So we left. A couple weekends later, we go to meet up again to work. He calls me and says, hey, I'm not going to be able to come back anymore. And I said, well, what's going on? He said, Well, I've been having some really bad nightmares. I feel like something is sitting on my chest, and when I wake up, I see a black, like, entity figure standing in my doorway. He said sometimes it's standing there when I'm waking up. He said sometimes I don't know if I'm dreaming or if I'm actually seeing it. And he said that one time it felt like it had its hands around his throat, and he said, and I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't scream. I said my grandma used to call that the hag, and he said I don't know what it is, but it's not the hag. We used to always say the hag got you. That's whenever you're kind of laying in bed and you wake up and you can't breathe, and you get this weird sensation feeling. Some of y'all may know what I'm talking about. My grandma told us it was the hag, and that's what we always called it. Y'all may call it something else. So he said, but not only that, he said, my wife has kind of done a 360 on me and just out of the blue said, I want a divorce. He said, we've never had a fight within 4 or 5 years. He said, we've had some arguments. I asked her why. She said that she didn't love me anymore and was saying all kind of hateful things. He said that his wife and her mother always got along great, but she started calling his mother like some really bad names and stuff and everything. He said, so we're separated right now. I want to try to see if I can build my marriage. I'm not going to be able to come back probably. I said, okay, no problem. Forgot all about him. He had sent me a message saying, hey, I forgot if you don't mind signing for those 4 hours I was there. That's all I need to finish. And I said, oh, you got your other hours? He said, yeah, I went somewhere else. He said, but it's the craziest thing. He said, I was in the shower and I kept feeling like something was watching me. And he said, when I went to get out of the shower, I felt like I was pushed. He said, and I fell. And when I fell, I broke my ankle. He said, but they had to put screws in my ankle. And I was talking to the nurse and doctor, and they were telling me of another place that I could kind of help get my hours or whatever. I don't know. I was like, are you kidding me? He said, no, man. He said, I think something followed me when I opened that Dybbuk box and handled it. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. So when he told me that story, I came back. I told Miss Sharon, and Miss Sharon, if you're online, give me a thumbs up because you know what I'm about to say. So I told her the story, and I told Melanie, if you're online, there was quite a few of us, 4 or 5 of us, and I told them everything about that Dybbuk box. I said, it's not there. I don't know where it is. I can't find it. It's not sitting on the table where he left it. I said, and nobody has bothered all that stuff over there. I said, have y'all seen it? And they said, no, we haven't seen it. So when I told them the story and I told them all the scary stuff, they wanted to see it. They wanted to see what it looked like. Miss Sharon and Melanie, if you're there, give me a thumbs up to let everybody know that the story is true. So about 5 or 6 of us spent all morning and all evening looking for that thing. We looked up and down. I can tell you this, the 4 or 5 years that box has been missing, we've probably had a search party 3 or 4 times. And when I say search party, I mean several hours of looking and pulling everything out, opening every box, opening every, where it could have been stuffed. I asked the guy, did you take it? Did you throw it away? Did you do anything with it? No, I didn't do anything with it, man. I didn't want nothing to do with it after everything that happened. I left it sitting on that table where all the little walkie-talkies are. So that's our Dybbuk box story. There's some other stories that I'll tell you about, some weird things that happen inside that haunted house to us sometimes. You could be sitting there and you'll hear, footsteps and stuff. Sometimes you'll hear what sounds like some laughing and stuff like that. It's just creepy. That building inside to me is just creepy. Again, that's another reason why I don't go in by myself is because of that Dybbuk box. I don't think anyone has physically gotten hurt like he did, but I think because he was the one that was kind of taunting it and I don't believe in this and messing with it, I think he might have provoked something. He did say some kind of things that I don't know. You know, if I was a spirit, I probably wouldn't have taken too kind to. Oh yeah, you think this? Kind of like the reporter who asked the wrestler, "Hey, this is fake," and ended up getting smacked a few times. I think that the entity may have smacked him. I do know that I talked to Rich since then a few times. He says that they used to see this like guy dressed in like a trench coat at the bottom of the stairs. He said, but when the box went away, he said, then it turned into like this black like shadow kind of entity thing. He said they can feel it. He said probably about once a month something weird will happen, like something will go flying across the room or something like that. He said him and his daughter can verify. So that's my story. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're enjoying your Saturday night. I hope all the mothers have a wonderful Mother's Day. We're going to really try to do some interviews so that you're just not listening to me. And I know you love listening to me, right? Get you some popcorn. We'll have some more ghost stories. We can sit down, relax, pour you a glass of wine. These stories are a lot better when you've had a few drinks in you. If you believe, great. If you don't, that's okay too. Just remember that, again, I'm not an expert on supernatural. I love the haunts. I love haunted house stories. I love Bigfoot. I love anything like that. I'm a believer. I believe in UFOs. I believe in extraterrestrials, all that stuff. But I will tell you this, and my friends will tell you, and everybody will tell you, I'm not a liar. I'm not a storyteller. I wouldn't tell you these things if I didn't believe it or if it wasn't true or if I was making it up. That's not me. My friends and family will tell you I'm a lot of things, but one thing I'm not is a liar. I do BS you sometimes, but that's only to kind of get a rouse out of you and make you laugh. One other thing I will say about the Ailey Temple, I give a shout out to illustrious Sir Buddy Grayson who's there. Hopefully your Lady Laura's watching with us. So there's some things that kind of happen at the Ailey Temple building itself. That's creepy. And I kind of want to talk to Colleen because she's there a lot, you know, because she's the secretary, her and Dave. So kind of want to get some feedback on them. But one of the things that we do agree on, me and illustrious Buddy, is that the long hallway before you go into the ballroom, there's on both sides are, I don't know, 100 or more pictures of past potentates. Every picture that Ailey has ever had is on that wall. Almost everybody is along the walls. A lot of black and white ones, you know, up until we got color and everything. But when you walk down those walls, it's like the eyes follow you. The ones that are passed away, or the black camel has come and got, if that makes sense. It's just an eerie feeling. I can tell you when I used to kind of do security in there, when so I'm gonna give a shout out to the ladies, Miss Marlene and them. We have Christmas at Ailey every year in December. Please come out and support it. It's a lot of arts and crafts, local vendors and things like that. Come out and support it. To help save money for security, I used to hang out in the potentate's office because they had a big, comfy leather couch. Oh, man, it was cool. I propped my feet up and I would it was scary. I will say that because you could hear people walking across the floor. You could see little shadows and things like that. But mainly, when you walk down that corridor and those past potentates are lined up on both sides and they're watching you, and it feels like the eyes, you know, kind of like at the Haunted Mansion at Disney World, but these are real human beings that once lived, you know, and they just kind of watch you like, you know, you feel like they're watching. It's just creepy. It's creepy, man. Again, hope you enjoyed the stories. Want to give a shout out to everybody that's watching. I'm sorry, I've turned my comments off somehow, and I don't know how to cut them back on. So, shout out to you. I will answer any questions that you have. I'll go back through the news feed. I'll share this on my page. Please, please, please share. If you've enjoyed this, share it. Share it. Ask people who like ghost tales and ghost stories. If you have a personal ghost story, I want to hear it. Inbox me. Because when our equipment comes, I want to sit down with you and want to hear your story. For everybody to enjoy. The main reason I'm doing this is to share these stories because, you watch the Travel Channel and all these stories. You watch Ghost Adventures. I love Zach Baggins. It's my favorite show. You watch all these stories and everything. But I want to focus on like Savannah and around us so that we can do it and be a little bit more personal. Not something that happened 50 years ago. I want to know what's happening now. What did you see a couple years ago? What have you seen now? What's going on now? We're going to visit these places. We're going to start doing little tours as it starts to open back up once it's safe. And this pandemic has kind of gone away. We're hoping. Any ghost stories that you have personally, I'd love to hear them, and get your story. Again, you read all these books, you see all these things about Savannah. It's mainly the same thing over and over and over about, the Hamilton Turner house or the Pirate's house, or what's the one down there, the brewery downtown, Moon River. You hear about these things all the time. I know it's suggested that I go in there after hours and see if they'll let me do a little thing where they're building new construction because they can't keep a construction crew down there. That may be a thing. Hopefully we can do that one night. And if so, I'll definitely let you know. One of the topics that I do want to cover, and I want to take a field trip. But I would like to invite anybody that'd like to go because I saw something and I've been doing some research on it. And apparently, where the homeless camp is on Truman, you walk through that section. It's kind of underneath the Truman, somewhere in that area. But there's an old either hospital or asylum or something like that that's haunted, supposedly. But it's way out, kind of past their camp. You got to go through the woods and everything and along the trails. So I'm going to check that out. Also going to check out, somebody asked me to check out Brooklet, called Ghost Road. Supposedly you can see a lantern. I've heard stories like that all the time. But we'll check it out for ourselves and see if it happens. We'll go live. So we're going to be doing a lot of things like that. Also want to start talking a lot about Halloween costumes. When you was a kid, what was your favorite Halloween costume? What did you do? Did you have some crazy stories? What's your favorite scary movies? I'm talking scary movies. I'm not talking blood and guts and stuff like that. I'm an old-fashioned type horror guy. I like the 70s and 80s type horror. Yeah, there's some blood and guts, but not like it is now where it's just too much sometimes. Give me some ideas of what you'd like for me to talk about. Please subscribe to our podcast. Happy Mother's Day again. I can't thank all the mothers out there enough. Thank you all for watching. And until next time, I hope to scare you there. Good night, Savannah.